Here we go. Welcome to Guys, Gals, and Gadgets. This is my second installment of the channel. So for those of you tuning in for the first time, I want to thank you and welcome you to my channel. What we talk about here is a combination of technology and relationships. We talk about primarily cell phones and maybe Bluetooth headphones and speakers and things of that nature. And then we talk about relationships and the things that happen in relationships and just my experiences and my advice. And I will be having some guests on the show, so stay tuned for that. But I wanted to make sure I got this video out because I've been trying to get it out for a long time, and you know how life is. So with that being said, I got a lot to talk about, and hopefully this video does not end up being too long. So I've got my script here, and first thing I wanted to talk about was the Galaxy Note 10, but I no longer have that phone, sadly. I had the Galaxy Note 10 Plus, loved the phone, had an issue with Samsung. Should I go into? Yeah, I'm gonna do it. So I had a pair of Galaxy Buds that came with my Galaxy Note 10 Plus. The right Galaxy Bud malfunctioned, doesn't work. Sounds like somebody's whispering. So when I called to turn it in or have them exchange it, it took 3 or 4 phone calls. They wanted me to provide all this information and some proof of purchase, and I'm like, you guys don't track your own stuff because you sent this to me as a promotion to get the Note 10 Plus along with a power brick. Actually, they gave me $150 credit. For those of you who already have the Note 10 and did the pre-order, you already know it was $150 towards the purchase of any accessories, and I chose the power brick, and I also chose the Galaxy Buds. Well, 3 or 4 phone calls later, finally get it resolved. And I don't know about y'all, but there's something to be said about good customer service and taking care of the people who spend money with you. I already know some of y'all are about to clown me. First of all, the hat. Yeah, I know. My barber was not in today, and so yeah, I'm wearing the hat. I'm not going out like that. Y'all are not gonna see me like that. So, long story short, this is the box. This is being shipped back to Samsung because their policy is you send us back the item, then we'll send you one. Didn't really like that. So I kind of gave them some what you call it, constructive, wasn't criticism, it was actually advice. And I basically told them that the one thing that Apple does do, and I've always commended them for that, is you have a place to go if your phone acts up, if your Beats act up, or whatever product you buy from them. They stand by it. Not only do they stand by it, they exchange it. And you don't have to come in and prove that you bought the phone or the accessory on this date. It's already in their system. So kudos to Apple for that. So I guess I had a little bit of I just didn't like the way it was handled. So I no longer have my Galaxy Note 10 Plus. I am shooting this video. I know I'm gonna hear it. I know I'm gonna get it. As much trash as I talked about Apple, I'm shooting this video on the iPhone 11. Now that that's out the way, so my initial topic was to talk about the Galaxy Note 10, and I will say this, I'll just make that part very brief. Galaxy Note 10 Plus, best all-around phone out right now. I no longer have it. I got rid of mine because, as I told you, right now I'm shooting this video on an iPhone 11. One thing I can tell you about Apple is their video is always on point. So knowing that I'm starting to post content on a regular basis, I knew that I wanted to go with a phone that I could do that with right now. And the one problem I had, and a lot of people experience this problem too with a lot of Android phones, is how when you take a video, it looks great in the phone until you go to send it somewhere, and then it's compressed and it looks like it's shot 10 years ago on a flip phone. And Apple does not do that. Their videos come through clear wherever you know, when you take the video and you shoot it and you send it, it looks like you shot it. It doesn't look pixelated. And if somebody watching this video knows how to fix that in the phone, I thought I knew and I found out I didn't. If you could kindly drop that in the comments, I'd greatly appreciate it. So, I guess a good bit of my content, as I'm looking at my notes, was about the Galaxy Note 10 Plus. So we're going to talk about my experience with the iPhone. Today is day one, and what I can tell you is that the phone charges really slow compared to the Galaxy Note 10 Plus. I had it hooked up to a 30-watt charger, and it seemed like it took forever to charge. I did notice that. But on the plus side, they have an app called Move to iOS. So if you have an Android phone and you're switching over to Apple, it's a very easy and quick switch. And wasn't so quick, but it was easy. Today in the store, I think it took about 45-50 minutes, and it moved all my text messages, all my phone calls, a good bit of my applications, and a lot of my stuff over to the iPhone. And all we had to do is set it up to do it. There was no complicated steps to do. It just worked. So I was very grateful for that. And the battery life, I forgot. I tried to go with another Android phone. I went with the OnePlus 7T. It wasn't a good experience. The phone didn't even make it 24 hours. The battery life on that phone, when you're used to having a Galaxy Note 10 Plus, the battery life on a Galaxy Note 10 Plus is very substantial, and you can go a full day, and depending on your usage, sometimes a day and a half with that battery. I woke up this morning, taking my kids to school, getting them on the road, unplugged the phone around 7 o'clock. By 11 o'clock, it was at 50%, and I really didn't do a lot on it. So the OnePlus 7T's battery was not sufficient for me. Now, if you are not a hardcore user, it might be okay for you, but if you're a hardcore power user, you're going to be upset. You're going to be upset. I am keeping the iPhone until the new phone comes in for T-Mobile, which is the exclusive carrier of the OnePlus 7T Pro. Big difference. The Pro is a bigger battery, bigger size phone. McLaren edition, which has an orange trim to it, comes in an orange box. All the accessories are orange, and it comes with an Alcantara and carbon fiber case. Look it up. It's nice. So, being that half of my content about phones is now gone, we can go ahead and skip to the relationship content. And there's some things that I've just noticed, and if you have followed me on Facebook, there's some things that I have posted about, and it's time to actually take it to video. One of the first things that I'm noticing is that people need to really be honest with themselves. I don't understand why people say that they don't want a relationship, but all their actions are showing that they do. For example, when a person says that they don't want a relationship and they post all these things about, being, you know what I mean, all the things that people post about maybe cuddling and things of that nature. People post these things, but then they turn around and say they don't want what they're posting. I don't understand that. At this point in my life, I'm getting ready to turn 46 years old, and the one thing I can tell you is that at this point, I'm very honest with myself. I know what I want and won't settle. Just won't. And I don't think anybody should. I think that if you have something made up in your mind that you want, unless you are, and I'm saying this with a little trepidation, because I know how this is going to sound, but sometimes we can be a little unrealistic in certain expectations of people. And we all have that friend that kind of expects things out of people that they don't quite possess. And I'm going to just leave it at that. So that was my first topic. This next one, though, is pretty serious. And like I said, pretty soon I'll be having some guests come on. We'll be interviewing some of my friends and people that I know that have some great stories to tell about relationships and their takes on relationships. So stay tuned for that. The next topic, I'm just going to read it and I'm going to go. A lot of people post the most negative things about the opposite sex and then wonder why they don't have great relationships. I'm going to just let that sink in. I see so much garbage on Facebook that I basically go and briefly skim, and I'm basically in Facebook Marketplace a lot. But I don't really spend a lot of time in Facebook simply because it has become the most negative place where people go there to express all this political and very racially charged, and then when it comes down to the relationships and the opposite sex, we don't even want to go there. I'll just say this. If you are posting all of these things about the opposite sex and nothing is positive that you're posting about the opposite sex, then you can't wonder why you keep running into situations and people because of what you're posting, because the Bible says it this way: out of the heart flow the issues of life. When you are in a place that you are bitter and you can't say anything positive about a man or a woman, you will continue to attract people who keep you in that frame of mind, if that makes any sense. We tend to attract what we feel about, not really what we think about. We do to an extent, but it's more about what we think and feel about. So if you feel a certain kind of way about men or women, then you can't wonder why you keep this revolving door of experiences that tend to resemble themselves. I really want to say something, and I'm trying to be diplomatic because I want people to be able to receive what I'm saying. I'm just looking at some of this content. I guess the next part of this is saying that what you focus on grows. A lot of people focus on the fact that they don't have this type of relationship. They don't have this type of spouse. They don't have this type of affection in their relationship. But you're never going to have it because you focus on what you don't have. I know this has probably been beat into a lot of your heads, but some of you, this is the first time you're hearing something like this, and it's very important to understand that you have to focus on what you want, not what you don't want. Let me give an example. I know a person personally, have known them for a long time, and I always hear this out of their mouth. I don't want to be late. I don't want to be late. I don't want to be late. But that person is late all the time. It's because they focus on one word. Take the rest of the sentence, I don't want to be. You take that away, what's the word that's left? Late. That's what they focus on. And they have a lot of emotion built up about that because it's embarrassing to show up 30 minutes late when a meeting has started, or you're late for an appointment, or you're late for a doctor's appointment, or whatever it may be. It should be somewhat embarrassing to be late in that vein. So this person who says, man, I don't want to be late, all you're focusing on is late. Why not focus on the word early, and you'll have better results? And I say that because in our relationships, we focus on what we don't want. I don't want someone to cheat on me. I don't want someone to lie to me. I don't want someone to ghost me. I don't want. And then we wonder why it keeps showing up. Because we focus all of our attention on I don't want instead of what I do want. And a lot of people, they naturally push back when they hear this because they, oh no, I don't. I focus on what I want. I hear you, but I also hear you. And a lot of my friends and people that I associate with, I listen to what they say and I bring it back to them. I'm like, wait a minute. You just sat here for 10 minutes telling me about how you hate when women do this, or you hate when men do that. That's what you're focusing on what you hate. And if that's what you're going to focus on, that's what you're going to get. And that's in all areas of our lives. I mean, I'm trying to stick to just relationships and technology, but I mean, people who say, I don't have this, I don't have no money, I'm broke, I ain't got nothing. You're never going to have anything because that's what you're focusing on, is what you don't have. So what you focus on grows. And if you want better things in your life, you have to focus on better things. And in relationships, it starts with one building block. It is an attitude of gratitude. So let's say you have someone in your life, and let's just say it, nobody's perfect. Let's say this person has one quality, just one, that you are thankful for. If you begin to focus on that, what you'll find in most cases, is that the person that you're with has a lot more than just one quality. But because you've been focusing on everything that they don't do, or everything that they miss, or how they messed this up, or whatever, once you shift your focus, you begin to see the other things that you started to like this person for in the beginning. My next one's a big one. And with mental health awareness and all these things going on right now, I had to talk about this. Going to a counselor is not a negative thing. People who say it is because maybe they've had a bad experience, or they're just ignorant to the process. let me tell you this. I am a living example of someone who got a wake-up call at a counseling session or a few. I went to counseling and learned some things about family dynamics and things that explained why I believe certain things and why I acted certain ways, and also taught me something about myself that was really hard to grasp. And I'm gonna be open and candid and share this. Some of you who are seeing this video know this because you're close to me and you know that I've shared this with you, but I had a counseling session, and he basically asked me some questions and just let me talk for 55 minutes of an hour session, asking questions and writing notes and looking at me and taking mental notes. I could see his wheels turning. And right before the end of the session, he turns to me and says, "Well, I have an observation for you." And he basically looked at me. He said, I want to get as close to his exact words as possible, so give me a second. He basically said that I had a high tolerance for abuse, meaning that I stayed in relationships and situations way longer than I should have. That someone who does not have a high tolerance for abuse would walk away a lot sooner, and that, that was really hard to receive. I didn't quite know how to wrap my head around it. It took 6 months to really wrap my head around it and to start to see different things that I grew up with, some manipulation and control by family members, and seeing that now was very graphic for me to start pulling examples of how certain things that I grew up with and grew up seeing, and then going into other relationships and attracting people who mimicked and even took it to another level, the behaviors that caused me to have a high tolerance for abuse. So I learned that at the counselors, and I'm telling you right now, not every counselor is the greatest, but there are some that they help you to see where you are and also show you where you could be and give you a roadmap to how to get there. And then there's some that are just there to point out this is where you are and allow you to build the bridge from where you are to where you think you are, where you would like to go. The last point, because I'm gonna try to keep this video as short as possible, being that this is my first video back. And if you want to know, I have my notes on my tablet, my Galaxy Tab. I know I still got Samsung products. I still have a Samsung Galaxy Watch. I'm going to trade this tablet in because it's a year old, and I can actually trade it in and get the new one. And the only reason I'm trading it in for a Samsung Galaxy Tab 6 is because there isn't a really good Android tablet out there outside of Samsung. I'm trying to get away from them for a minute because they made me upset. So my last point was going to counseling helped me realize something that caused me to attract the same type of people in my past. I kind of already alluded to it, but when you have a high tolerance for abuse, and I'm telling you right now, there are probably a lot of people who will see this, that hearing this may trigger something. It may trigger wait a minute, what is that? What do you mean high tolerance for abuse? I can actually explain it. It's very simple. A high tolerance for abuse means that you take a lot more from people than you should. And one bad thing about the high tolerance for abuse is when you are that way, you just allow way too much stuff. And in a relationship, that puts you in a situation, puts you in a situation where you just stay in stuff way too long. And not all of my relationships have been that way, but there have definitely been a few that I can look back on and say, yeah, I absolutely stayed way too long. So I'm encouraging people to, if you want to know the name of my counselor, my next video, I'm actually going to try to reach out to him and get him on the video because he's amazing. Him and his wife, here in Columbus, Ohio, they are under the, I think the name of their practice is Have Faith Counseling. They are Christian counselors. However, they counsel everybody. And if you're not Christian, then they're not going to come at you in a biblically based, they're just going to counsel you on the issues. And that's a wonderful thing that they can separate that, because some people, that's not their religion, that's not their faith. They can help anybody. And I can tell you right now, I thank God for this place, Have Faith Christian Counseling. They're based out of Whitehall, Ohio. They've helped me. They've helped me quite a bit, and they've helped me come to a place where I had to learn how to set healthy boundaries. And when I notice that a person is kind of trampling on those boundaries, I've gotten better. Normally I would stay way too long. We're talking years. But now I cut it down to months, and it's going to get even shorter as time goes by and I start to recognize things. But these are the things that I wanted to talk about in my first video back. So yeah, you guys let me know how this video looked. Like I said, it was shot completely on an iPhone 11. I didn't even mess with the settings. I just pushed record and said go. So with that being said, I want to thank you all for tuning in to the first video back. I also want to thank you for subscribing, liking, commenting, and sharing this with people, because this is going to be a place of healing when it comes to relationships. I thought I was going to close this out, but let me give you an understanding as to why I made this channel. I made this channel because I'm a techie. I like technology. I know it very well. I stay on top of it. I can tell you things about every phone that's been released this year, the good, the bad, the ugly. The tech side, I also worked for Sprint for about 3 years. I also worked for Verizon for about 3 years. So I have those two companies, 6 years of experience between those two companies. I also started buying, selling, and trading phones years before that. So I have about 10 years of experience in the technology field. I can recommend cases. I can recommend certain phones for certain people. You guys in the comments, make sure that you let me know give me some ideas of content that you want to see. But my heart for the technology side, I've already shared it with you. My heart for the relationship side is I love happy, healthy relationships. And I think that the more happy, healthy relationships that exist, it makes everything better. It makes our country better. It makes our work experience better. Think of all the people you know that are miserable because they're stuck in bad relationships, and they come to work and they take it out on you. Don't say no names. Don't do it. Don't do it. I'm just playing. But Think of the people that you know in your life that are absolutely miserable and how much better their life could be by having a healthy, happy relationship. That's where my heart is, because I obviously want to see that not only in other people's lives, but in my life as well. So I'm going to promote things that will help people get to that, help people reach that type of relationship. I'm not saying perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect relationship. And those of you saying that you have one, I'm gonna just leave that alone. Because no relationship's perfect. You may have a great relationship, but you're gonna have trials, tribulations, ups and downs, good days, bad days, valleys, peaks. You're gonna have those things. But when you're with the right person and it's a healthy relationship, you can go through those things without wanting to be like War of the Roses. And if you haven't seen that movie, yes, I'm dating myself. I know this. If you haven't seen War of the Roses, I don't know, Hulu it, Netflix it, whatever you got to do. You watch that movie and it will give you a appreciation for a healthy relationship or marriage, I'm telling you. But I just wanted to share a little bit of my heart with you guys. That's why I do what I do. I love technology and I love happy, healthy relationships. So thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. My content will get better. I will change my set soon. So stay tuned for more. Thank you.